This Pitch Breakfast video is brought to you by Spangler and Agins, attorneys for Charlotte's startup community.
Hi, I'm Ryan Ruff. I'm the CEO and founder of Envudu. I'm third generation in the personal finance industry. My grandfather was a famous personal finance author. My father founded 2 companies in the personal finance space. While working for my father, my job was to help find a budgeting solution for their clients that were overspending. And one client in particular, named Karen, could not stop raiding her savings account. But I noticed that she had a separate side savings account specifically for Christmas, and she never raided that account. So on a hunch, I divided up the rest of her savings into separate accounts, and we gave each one a clearly marked nickname, like Disneyland, here we come, or new tires for the Honda. And the result, seeing something important to her she would have to give up, naturally stopped Karen from overspending. I was able to duplicate these results with my other clients, and from this experience, we built Envudu. Envudu divides up your income into digital envelopes, each one clearly marked for the purpose for what it's supposed to be spent on. You can spend directly from any envelope using your Envudu debit card. So if your clothing envelope is empty, to overspend on clothes, you'd have to steal from maybe your daughter's birthday envelope or your Disneyland envelope. When you see that, using emotional attachment to curb overspending is exactly why the old school cash envelope system was so effective in the cash-based economy. With Envudu, we are bringing the proven psychology of cash envelopes into the digital age by putting it on a smartphone. So we are seeking $100,000 to help validate our initial business model and get ready to scale. I'll open it to questions.
So that was good, Ryan. I like that. You did a very good job of talking about both your background and how the idea came to you, the origin story, if you will, and what this is, why this should work. And so that was all good because I have questions now, as Mr. said before, which is the idea with the pitch. You want to leave someone with enough. And we know the personal finance market is potentially huge, right? So what is probably the obvious question for you too is there's no shortage of personal finance products, right?
Yes.
And so as a consumer-facing app, our number one question is always, how is the world going to know you exist, and how are you going to acquire customers? So what's your plan there?
So I was fortunate in the beginning. My father is COO of this company as well, and he's got some great industry connections, and also we have an email list of about 150,000 emails that are from his previous company, which is in a very similar space. So we're going to start off with some grassroots market to those initial 150,000, and then we also have our own list of people waiting to get onto the product. So we're doing that, and then we did do some tests with some social media content marketing, right? We did a series called Mobile Money Tips, and it was, our best video got 150,000 subscribers, or 150,000 views, with only a boost of $200. So doing some of these grassroots things, we're going to be able to build up enough of an audience that then we can raise and do, paid social media marketing. And it's been very shareable with the users that get on it. I think every single one of us founders have had somebody that's in our beta that somebody else has come up and said, man, this guy won't leave me alone. He keeps talking about how awesome this product is. So we think that we will do a referral program that's pretty robust as well.
How do you make money? What's your business model?
So initially we found in testing that our early adopters are willing to pay for this. So for our early adopters and the early innovators, they pay $7.95 a month. But we've also secured whenever someone swipes their Envudu debit card, there's a merchant fee that the merchants have to pay. We've negotiated a cut of that. So as we roll this out, based off of our financial modeling, we will be able to sustain just on the interchange, and we'll be able to drop the monthly fee once we get into like the early majority and the late majority and trying to get to that market.
So how many customers do you have currently?
So we did a beta test on Wells Fargo accounts, and it wasn't
Did
as
they know it?
scalable. What's that?
Did they know it?
Yes, they did know it. I mean, actually, it was pretty creative. So we approached them. We wanted real-time data, right? We wanted real-time spending data, and they said, no, we're not going to give you that. And so we said, well, okay, we're going to leverage your email alert system. And so they were okay with that. So it was a really creative solution that our tech team came up with, where we created an email server and gave every beta tester an Envudu email. And then we had them put that in as the email alert, and it essentially gave us real-time data instantly that we could then parse and use to prove out the product. But to your question, we put 26 users on it just to test it. We knew it wasn't scalable. It wasn't a way for us to make money, so we just wanted to kind of prove out the product a little bit. And 24 of those 26 are still with us. 6 months later, they've been on it. But the most powerful part for me is 80% of them had told us beforehand they'd never been able to stick to a budgeting solution for more than 2 or 3 months. That's what they told us when they started. 6 months later, they're still logging in 2 to 3 times a day, every single day. We have their eyeballs.
So are they paying? Are these 26 paying?
These ones are not paid. The Wells Fargo is not a paid. But so we have about 1,000 people waiting to get onto our paid program, which was supposed to be launched. We're in alpha testing with our cards. These cards are live, just internally. It was supposed to launch last week. Banks had a few more things that they need to, cross some T's, dot some I's. We should launch that this week. So there's 1,000 people waiting to get onto our paid product. If people aren't for some reason willing, our early adopters, we know they're willing to pay. They've said they are. They're waiting on the list. That's with very minimal marketing, just talking with bloggers and then writing about us and people coming and signing up. We can sustain off of just the interchange. We've negotiated a good enough deal to be able to do that.
Yeah, as John mentioned, I think there are lots of companies who are in this space. In fact, I was an advisor to a Queen City fintech company last year, pitching, doing pretty much exactly the same thing.
Okay.
There was a company, I can't remember the name now,
Yeah.
but it was a company doing a very similar story. I can't remember the name. I'll think about it. I'll mention it to you. But I liked how you pitched it, though. I don't think they did as good of a job pitching basically the same story. And the whole envelope idea concept makes a lot of sense. But whenever you find a company like that, whenever you have a company in a space like yours, which is very crowded, there's only one way to answer the question that I'm going to have, which is, how am I going to tell one company versus the other? And you have to be able to find the thing that is going to break that chicken and egg problem, right? You got to get some traction before I can give you money, but you need money to get the traction. So you need to, it's a chicken and egg problem that you're in. And you got to be able to do whatever you can to get out of it. And traction, as best as you can get it, is the way to do it. So the 26 customers that you're working with, that's hugely important. And I wish it was, 2,600, not 26, because it's kind of hard to tell a whole lot out of just 26 people. The fact that they're paying, that's a pretty important signal. Or the fact that if they were paying, it would be a very important signal.
They're not paying monthly, but they did pay $15 to get access to the data.
That's a good sign. The other thing that I think you want to think about, another way to get out of that chicken and egg problem is to talk about your goals. Sometimes your vision can be the difference, right? I'm thinking about the fact that how do you separate your company from the next one, from the other one? And talking about your goals, what it is that you want to achieve with this money, with the next money that you're going to raise. So one way, every pitch that I've heard is good, really, in essence, because entrepreneurs are putting all the energy into creating something useful and new. The key is sometimes timing doesn't work.
Yeah.
Maybe you're talking to the wrong investor, or you're too early. But investors like to, if the idea is good, investors like to track you.
Yeah.
And they want to know what is it that you're going to do during the next few months.
Yeah.
And then they want to know how it is that you did 3 months later or 6 months later when they come back to you.
Yep.
So that's another great way to think about it, is like you talk to somebody, you say, this is what I'm going to do, whether they give you the money or not. So you should talk about your goals, what it is that you're going to achieve, not just what you did, but what you're hoping to do. I have seen companies raise money just on the promise of what it is that they want to do. Not so much talk about what they want, what they did before, but and be able to sell to customers and to investors before even building a product. Good salespeople can do that. So I would encourage you to try things like that. In particular, what it is that you want to achieve. How many customers you want to have in 3 months? How many customers you want to have in 6 months? And if we invest or not, we want to be able to come back to you and say, did you do that? Because that's the way to break the chicken and egg problem.
Great, yeah. So, did you want me to speak?
I do, yes,
Okay,
please.
so
What are your goals for
on
the next year?
differentiating ourselves, you're right, that is our biggest challenge, because on the surface, a lot of these systems look very similar. But ours is, when you get in and get into the nitty-gritty, ours is completely different than anything you've ever seen. Ours, it leverages default bias, present bias, loss aversion bias in a subtle way that people don't even realize their decisions are being influenced. But in one sentence, all of the other systems out there are categorizing transactions after the money is spent. They're automatically doing stuff after the fact. So that's effective at showing you your past mistakes, but for a lot of people that's just depressing. What ours does is show you beforehand, you're selecting what envelope, you're seeing the potential mistake before the mistake happens, and you're naturally course correcting. We're the only ones that allow you to select what category you want to spend from beforehand, and then it automatically updates on the back end. So there is some subtle differences the way that we think about behavioral psychology. But to answer about your goals, we were waiting for this card to get live, and as soon as it is this week, we're going to go all out on that. We're going to get 2,500 users, which we can easily do.
How long, what period of time?
Over the course of this accelerator in June, we will have 2,500 users. But we're tracking the KPIs.
Paid users?
Paid users. We're tracking the KPIs so that we can then take that information and tell the investors, they're logging in 2 to 3 times a day. We have their eyeballs, and their beginning account balance was this, now it's this. They're being successful, and here's our net promoter score. And from that, and also our customer acquisition costs. From that, then we'll go into our Series A and use that just to throw gasoline on a fire that's already burning. So that's what we need the 100,000 for.
So I just wrote down, and correct me if I'm wrong, in 3 months, you're gonna get 2,500 paid users paying $8 a month with a pretty good net promoter score.
And then you can participate in our Series A.
Okay, we'll check in 3 months and
All
see
right.
where you are.
All right.
Yeah, it got me also. I got interested and had questions. So
Okay.
good job in the 2 minutes. Same thing with differentiation in a crowded market, and you just touched on a couple of the words that always comes back on the investment side: customer acquisition costs, and
Yeah.
lifetime value.
Yep.
You probably should have something in there that kind of connects it to, you've thought about that.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Got about 3 minutes left. Any questions? Yes, sir.
I don't know if you spoke on it. Can you speak on more of the security aspects of your product? I know you said this Wells Fargo for alpha beta testing. Is that included with the security or whatnot to your product?
Yeah, so he's asking about the security of the product and the platform. So we are not dealing, our platform itself is not dealing with any PCI compliant data, but we are working at becoming PCI compliant because in the future we will want to. But our partners are Community Federal Savings Bank. They hold on to the funds, they protect the funds there. It's FDIC insured. And then we're working with I2C, one of the most innovative processors in Silicon Valley, and they're actually doing all the payments, and they've got everything secured there. We're just connecting through a tokenized system that's very secure. We are encrypted and everything, but we are working towards PCI compliance as well, even though we don't need it right now. Good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is from the customer perspective,
Okay.
which is good considering you've got a potential investor that's thinking about, hey, I might actually use this from the purchase side, right? So, can you talk a little bit more about the debit card and how it connects and how it works?
Yeah, so his question's about how to use the debit card and how it works. So right now you can load funds onto your Envudu card through direct deposit, or from your current checking account, money can be loaded onto the card. When you load money on, you create a plan of how you intend to spend your money, and we help you with that. We use statistical benchmark data to help make sure you understand how much you need to be putting away for a Toyota Prius versus, an old Chevy, right? So we'll help you come up with that plan, and then when money hits your account, it's automatically divided into all of your envelopes according to your financial plan. So it eliminates that needing to plan every single month how you're going to spend your money. It's going to automatically follow your plan. All you do is just, on your smartphone, you select which envelope that you're wanting to spend from, and it instantly connects your debit card to that envelope, swipe your card, and it pulls the money out. Great question.
One more.
Okay, this guy had his hand up first, yeah. Believe me. What do you want? We're going to be teaming up. Yes, we are. But he's going to be offering this to the college students as part of his platform and part of his value add, and we're working out the details on that. So thank you.
Thank you.